Hey everybody, Mark Nunakoven here, bringing you something you don't normally see at AWS reInvent: snow. One of the huge advantages of a virtual reInvent is that we actually get to stay home. I know some people look at that as a downside, and it's the downside, but there's upside. For me, that upside is that the holiday season very much feels like the holiday season to me. I get snow up here in the great white north, and I get to enjoy a beautiful winter's day like today. It's day 2 of reInvent, and I wanted to bring you a few tips and tricks as well as some suggestions of what to do with your day today. We saw the keynote from Andy Jassy yesterday, and I've got some reaction here at this URL. In fact, you can find everything about reInvent that I'm publishing at this URL. They're linked together, so if you go to one, you'll be able to find the other. Some great reaction already. One note, blog post from Forrest Brazil, fantastic analysis of the keynote. And today we have a live stream from the one and only Corey Quinn at 1 p.m. Pacific. I'll put a link to that here, and you check that out for his post-keynote analysis. That's going to be fantastic, as it always is from Corey. But the sessions are starting in earnest today. If you log into the platform and go to the session catalog, you're going to see a ton of stuff coming up, and that's live at the moment. Now, a few things that I learned yesterday. Yes, even though I've been wrapped in this for weeks now, I'm still learning new stuff about the platform. And one of the biggest things is that for sessions, there is the 3 times, as we knew. There's one for Pacific time zone, there's one for GMT, and then SGT for APAC. So a session will broadcast 3 times. It'll start in Pacific, it'll go to GMT, then it'll go to SGT, and then at the end of the week in which it broadcasts, it'll be available on demand. So that changes how you approach your day. You're going to need to make sure that you catch one of these airings of the sessions. And unfortunately, it's a little tricky to figure out in the session catalog because there are actually 3 separate entries. Now, interestingly enough, only the first entry allows you to ask questions to the speaker. That is really frustrating. That is really, really annoying because you need to figure out which session you're viewing. Is it the first one? Can you talk to the speaker or not? Because through the reInvent chat, you can actually talk to sponsors, to the speakers during that first broadcast, and then to other attendees only if you have connected with them. So there's a bit of restriction there. So a lot of this discussion is happening over on Twitter. So follow the hashtag reInvent, and you'll be able to catch some of the great conversations. So there's a couple of sessions that I wanted to call out that I'm going to try to take in today, and I'm checking my notes. The first is emotional resilience, how to thrive in stressful times. That's actually part of the We Power Tech track. I'll put the session code in the description, as well as a direct link. That is coming up at 9:30 Pacific time. Another one actually that conflicts, there's 2 that conflict, and this is where that whole you can't watch it on demand until later thing gets really frustrating. Building event-driven applications with Amazon Event Bridge is at 9:45 Pacific, as well as AWS Proton automating infrastructure provisioning and code deployment. That's that new service that launched that we're all trying to figure out exactly how good is it going to be, how good can it be. That's airing at 9:45 Pacific as well. So I've got 3 sessions that I'm interested in that all somewhat overlap. Now, the challenge I have is that I have to look at and go, when is they airing in GMT or when are they airing in SGT? Can I catch them on that rebroadcast? If not, I'm going to have to wait till either Friday or Saturday. AWS hasn't been specific as to which time is the end of the week, so that you can catch those later. But add them to your calendars in the time slot you want. Hopefully you'll catch that up. That doesn't mean there's not content available. If you go to the hamburger menu in the top left and then click on community lounges, the Builders Fair, the Getting Started Lounge, as well as the Developers Lounge has some great content that you can watch anytime on demand. That's, of course, in addition to any sponsor talks. I did one of those, again, link down in the description. That stuff is available immediately, day 1. But next week, I think this is going to be less of an issue because all the week 1 content will be available and you can catch up on what you've missed. Now, last tip I want to leave you with for today is when you are on a session page, there is a link in the playlist for attachments. Check that out because some speakers have actually added reference material into their sessions that you can download and check out and get a deeper dive into what they're doing. That's not necessarily the slides, it's additional supplemental material, and that is super, super cool. It works the same way on the sponsor pages. It's not exactly intuitive, but once you know it, very easy to figure out. So that's a queue up that I have for day 2. If you see anything cool, hit me up on Twitter at MarkNCA. Use the hashtag reInvent. If you're in a session and having discussion, my tip is to use the the session code as a hashtag to let everybody else kind of see what you're discussing as you're going through these 30-minute sessions. I love them. They're lean, they're mean, they're all content all the time. There's no filler. It's great. I hope you have a fantastic reInvent. We'll see you online.